Trolley Game tier list. Let's go! F tier. Starting from the bottom, we have Toon Memory Game. Anybody who knows literally anything about Toontown knows why this is F tier. Bad game. 0 out of 10. Easy. Next, I put Tug of War down in F tier because it seems like no matter how good you think you're doing in the game, you always end up losing or tying with whatever's on the other side. When I've done solo trolley games, it doesn't matter whether there's a flunky or a bigwig on the other side, I end up tying or losing. I feel like, A, you need to have more than one toon to do it, and B, it's honestly just not fun. When you're 7, and you get quote-unquote rewarded for pounding on the keyboard, it's fun. But as a pro MLG Toontown player, it's really not that fun anymore. Next up is Corporate Clash's Maze Game. Not only is it boring and a Pac-Man clone, but it was slow as heck. In Toontown Rewritten, you have a base speed running around that gets slowed down when you press down an up-down key with a right-left key to turn a corner. That slow speed is what the entire game is like in Corporate Clash. It's borderline unbearable, so that's why it's F tier. Catching Game. Of all the F tier games, I like this one the most, but that's not saying much. Catching Game sucks. Run around under the circles for a minute, catching stupid fruit and avoiding stupid cogs. It's boring and repetitive. Its redeeming quality is sometimes it can be fun with other people, but yeah, low bean payout, boring, simple gameplay, F tier. D tier. Next up is Race Game. This game is also very boring, and you need more than one person to play it. It's supposed to be a game of risk and reward. Do you go for the 4 knowing that someone else wants that 4, or do you pick the 1 knowing that if you get it, you only go 1 space? I like situations like this, but it gets so tedious you end up trying to mess up your friends so no one has fun. It turns out to be more of an RNG game for me, it thus earns itself in D tier. Photo Fun. I've always thought Photo Fun has gotten a bit of a bad rap. When it first came out, I enjoyed it a lot, although as we just discussed, there is a bit of RNG involved. While usually, the toons you take pictures of follow patterns, sometimes they just flat out don't do what you need, and I think the star system is kind of confusing. I've taken absolute crap pictures before, and they end up getting 4 stars. Pointless game. Too much time on the clock. Most people end up wanting to waste all the film so you get it over with and move on to the next game, like I'm doing right now. Toontown Rewritten's Maze Game. Okay, here's where I actually want to talk about Maze Game, since it's closer to Toontown Online's Maze Game. It's actually kind of fun, either by yourself or with other people. The thing is, it's pretty simple. You run around, collect the dots, try not to get hit by the cogs. It's a game I personally don't prefer because I get bored once most of the dots get taken down. I don't really have the motivation to go and grab those last dots unless it's really down to the wire and I need them to beat out an opponent. Next! Game! C tier. Toon Tag. You can't play this game without other people, whatever, so I have to say it's fun with other people. It's a pretty simple game. Run around, collect treasure, don't get hit. But if you're good at the game, you can get a ton of beans from it. It's C tier because I'd play this game over any of the ones I've already mentioned, and since it has a high bean payout, I didn't want to put it in D tier. So yeah. Toon Escape. Alright, so I feel like Toon Escape gets a bad rep. Like, it's really not that bad. You jump around, you get coins, you squirt cogs, whatever, it's fine. It's average. The only thing necessarily bad about it is, like, sometimes it feels a bit long. In my opinion, anyone who doesn't like it might just be bad at platforming. And before you get going in the comments, oh, how dare you, just accept it. You're bad at platforming. This game gives out kind of a lot of beans depending on how many tokens you get and how quickly you finish. Obviously playing with multiple people makes this a bit more challenging, but for the most part, it's fine. C tier. Next. Match Mini. This one is mid tier for me because it lives in an awkward paradox of being boring and fun. Like, it's fun to memorize the pattern and blow past your friends and watch them trip up and take away their chances of happiness! But it's also like, your toon gets tossed in a band closet with girl making gets told to dance. It's kind of weird. Don't like that. The atmosphere sucks, and I honestly wish it was more of a rhythm game than a memory game. The bean payout is pretty decent if you do well, but yeah, you can't play the game if you don't have another person on with you. Moving on. Jungle Vines. I loved this game when it came out. The music was bopping, you were swinging from vines and pushing your friends off and fighting for bananas, but now it's just like... It's still alright. It provides enough challenge to make you feel like you're earning the beans you get, but overall, it's boring. And like, the bats get in the way, and they're annoying, but I think this is C tier for me because it has a bit of nostalgia and decent bean payout. B tier. Alright, now with B tier, we're starting to get into games that when they pull up on your screen, I just go, yes! This is a good trolley game. Starting off, we've got Treasure Dive. This game just makes me happy. It's not super hard or anything, it's got good bean payout, it's simple, but has a bit of challenge. It's great. If I were to compare it to a food, it would be like lemon meringue pie. It's got sweetness, tartness, creaminess, and you just leave feeling good. The reason this game is low B tier is because no matter the version you play, it's just laggy and sometimes you get cucked. You can be swimming along and not pick up the treasure chest until your 4th attempt, which sucks, because then the crabs lag too, so then when your magnet hands finally activate, you get cucked by the crab and have to start over. Same with getting hit by other fish. If you get hit, it takes a second for the game to go, oh yeah, you got hit! So you keep swimming upwards thinking you're fine, and then the chest just drops from your hands and you gotta go chase it. That bug is so frustrating, it knocks this game down to B tier, which is so sad, because realistically, it could be an A tier game for me. It's just buggy enough that it has to be lower. Ring game. I love Ring game. It's simple, but fun. It's fun to play with either one player or multiple. I love the teamwork aspect of it because it keeps people from messing with you. Like, hey, you're on here for beans, right? That's what I thought, so stop pushing me underwater! But yeah, you use all 4 of the directional keys, you get the light challenge of moving rings, you get high beam payout if you do well, which honestly is a majority of the time, so yeah, it's just a really good game. I kind of wish that the atmosphere would get updated because honestly it just kind of feels like you're swimming around in the dark, which can kind of feel lonely if you're playing by yourself. And also I don't think that the underwater noises should play because they're just loud and annoying. Cannon game! I love Cannon game! It's so underrated. It's a fantastic trolley game. It's great. This is what you saw in the Toontown commercials when you were a kid. This is what it means to be a toon. If you're playing with 4 players, you've got a good chance somebody just makes it on their 1st or 2nd try, and the whole party gets the beans. Very cool. But yeah, just like all the other games in B tier, it looks boring. It's old. What if you made it more like a how many buckets can you land in 30 seconds kind of thing? It's awesome, but it's really simple and could do with a tune-up. A tier. Toon Slingshot. This game rocks, dude. It's hard to get at first, but it's actually challenging. It's fun whether you're alone or with other people, and the bean payout is kind of crazy. The lowest amount of beans you can even get is 10. Well, okay, it's 0, but come on, it's hard not to hit the big red target. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but compare that to the amount of work you have to do. Slam your keys to build up tension in the slingshot, then let your toon fly, baby! Again, it's ridiculously easy to hit the ginormous targets on the ground and get at least some amount of beans. And you can totally just flex on people if you know the strat about bouncing on the trampoline, so that's pretty dope too. This game is so good. Mwah! One of my favorites. I wish that Rewritten and Corporate Clash could figure out how to get the texture to not re at me when I play the game, so I could flex even harder on people, but hey, it still works, and I love it. Corporate Clash's Cog Thief. Alright, we're nearing the end. Let's talk about the trolley game with one of the best tracks in the entirety of Toontown. I'm talking about Cog Thief. This baby is the cream of the crop, an absolute gem. I'm splitting up Corporate Clash and Rewritten because obviously they play a bit different depending on which server you're on. Clash has the more traditional one with the top-down view of your toons. This game is phenomenal. It's got strategy, tension, a banger of a soundtrack, a huge bean payout. It's got it all. The name of the game is simple. Throw the pies at the cogs so they don't steal the gag barrels. Even with the controls and the premise being so easy a 5-year-old couldn't understand it, they still make this game challenging by throwing cogs at you from a bunch of different angles. They've got cogs that walk right towards the barrels and cogs that target players. They've got a mechanic where a diagonal direction makes you go slower, which I would usually complain about, but in this case it adds just enough challenge to keep things interesting. You can take out multiple cogs with one pie. You basically get a life counter since the cogs taking one barrel doesn't end the game. You can strategize with teammates to decide how you want to attack. Since the barrels act as more of a life counter than as rewards, if you save even one, you get heckin' beans since the counter goes up over time. I love this game, I love the soundtrack, and it only gets better from here. S tier! Okay, I'm so excited. Toontown Rewritten's Cog Thief. Alright, we're here. It's all the same stuff, but they basically did what I think the servers should do more. They made it pretty and added a new spin on it. It's the same premise. Throw the pies so the cogs don't get the barrels, but they made it so that it's got the behind toon view we're used to seeing instead of a top-down, which adds so much. You've got all the excitement and challenges before, but now you feel like you're in the action even more. It's immersive, it's pretty, it's fun. This game is a masterpiece, and I think more servers should do to Trolley Games what Rewritten did to Cog Thief. Just a little tune-up goes such a long way. And at the very top, we have Ice Slide. Holy crap. This game is so much fun. The only critique I have for this game is that the bean payout is kind of bummy if you keep getting last. But to that I say, get good! The mechanics and fun of the game make up for the maybe not so fun beans. Ice Slide is one of the only toon versus toon aspects in the whole game, and that's really cool. The controls are easy to understand, up arrow for more power, down for less, side to side for the angle, and control to confirm. You bounce around like a madman trying to knock other players, get bean barrels, and avoid TNT. This game is a much deserved S tier. It has so much replayability. You can go back with the same friends or different friends and get different outcomes every time. Even if you're, quote, good at the game, sometimes you get unlucky. On the other hand, sometimes you do get lucky. There's so much to this game that is one of the reasons why I wish you could select trolley games you want to play. I would play Ice Slide with my friends every time I had the chance if they'd let me. So there you have it. My trolley game tier list. I don't know what else to say. Ice Slide is better than Fortnite. Bye!